in DHL Supply Chain Mexico. I thank you all who joined us today during the first day of the forum, and we welcome the ones who are just connecting. Remember that this conference can be listened in three different channels: Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Please select the audio by clicking on the audio you would like to hear, which is above the transmission. During this session, you'll have the opportunity to ask a question through the chat, which is below the transmission. Please use this space only for asking questions and place the word question within your message to identify them. You can consult the agenda, which is available in our website that now is available on the screen. We also invite you to share a selfie, a photo, comment, or your experience as how you're living this experience. In your publication, use hashtag the HLTF 2020, as you can see it on the screen. This to follow the conversation. To close the first day, we'll have two experts of the challenges of the aftermarket. Let's welcome Jose Ochoa, who is Assistant Manager in SCM and Logistics at Mitsubishi Motors Mexico, who he has collaborated with DHL as its main supplier, which go from transportation, storing, and distribution of parts in all the country. During his jobs, he has participated in manufacturing companies and other companies of marketing, and he is responsible of the supply chain and the logistic network. He has more than 20 years of experiences in areas of the administration of the supply chain and logistics, mainly in the automotive enterprises and in high-tech technology. Jose Ochoa is industrial and system engineer, and he comes from Chihuahua, from the Tecnológico of Chihuahua. He's specialized in e-commerce from the Tecnológico de Monterrey, and he's a project manager in PMA Institute of the United States. Thank you very much for joining us. The second expert that we have today is Ricardo Oliva, who is member of the leadership team of Volvo, and recently he has the position of operational manager, customer service, and product. He is the responsible to optimize the area of customer service. He joined the operation of Volvo in 2006, and throughout his trajectory, he's had different responsibility and roles inside Volvo, like marketing, after-sales, logistics and operations strategy, and sales. In 2017, he assumed the planning and logistic management, and in 2018, Rodrigo now follows. Rodrigo comes from the industrial and system engineering in the Tecnológico de Monterrey and specialized in finances, and he has participated in different programs to perfection this. Thank you, Rodrigo. Welcome.
Thank you.
To moderate this virtual panel, we have Marco Corona from DHL Supply Chain in Mexico to welcome our guests. That, as being inside the industry, they understand these alliances in the chain supply system. Please.
Thank you, Claudia. First of all,
Well,
welcome all. And it is an honor to have in this panel the two big people we have here in Aftermarket. Thank you so much. Thank you. And without more delay, let's talk about alliances. Rodrigo, I'll start with you. Regarding alliances in supply chain, point of sale competitors that you are for Volvo Mexico, what does it mean to be working in a shared network with windows and frequencies that are well defined, delivery of urgent, and has a call center? Can you comment on that? Yes, of course. And the most important is to have a very good planning. It is important to have a good planning with months ahead of time so we can trace a time frame in the level of service too. And it is very important to get in touch with first class providers as DHL so we can deliver our products to our clients in time.
what else can you tell us?
Well, I will say about the shared logistics. Well, without more delay, I'll talk about Volvo's context, how shared logistics is, and how have we been working in the company's vision towards the region and the market, and how have we benefit from that. First of all, I would like to mention that our mission in Volvo has the mission to have freedom of movement. And this is in a personal way, in a sustainable way, but also in a safe way. And that is the motive of our company. So, a little bit of context in Volvo to reinforce this. Since 2011, the company globally has been able to sell over 700,000, a little bit more. This is 57% more since 2011. We're more than 42,000 employees localized all around the world, and we have been growing in that a lot, 93% since 2011. So with that also come revenue strategies that have increased very interesting, 118%. And also the levied is 8 times more now since 2011. So towards the market, I'll come back to this idea that we have sold 700,000 vehicles since 2011, and that is a very good milestone for the company. And 7 out of 10 of the most important markets in Volvo grow 2 digits, and around the world is around 10%. So it is important to see that this growth is in Europe, China, and the US. In the context of where our operations are, Europe represents a growth of 7%. This number is, it's good to mention that are referenced before COVID-19. So Europe rose 7%, in China 19%, the US 10%, and specifically Mexico, I'm comparing year by year, 2018 and 2019, and we grew at 23%. And this year we have a trend very positive, very interesting. And how is this in pesos? Europe represents 48%, China 23%, US operations 15%, and the rest of the world 14%. Within the segments that go by with these growths, we have the XE vehicles, which are our SUVs, and we have noticed the trend that these markets have been well received by our clients. Now, let's talk about the presence. We are all around the world, as I said. We are represented in more than 100 countries, the United States, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. Why do I mention this now? Because we have a sense of everything that's happening around the world and the trends. We have identified that these trends exist and there's a change in behavior. Clients are expecting, and everybody's expecting, they are more demanding on the service that they require. So we see that the car manufacturing is in a transformation period. And in this change period, I would like to mention that we are seeing that these factors that our clients are looking for are around four targets. One is convenience, because our customers are they're demanding and they demand products in a very reasonable time frame and with immediate information. Also, the digital world is a reality today and it must be built up in in our way of going to the market with vehicle and replacement parts. And social responsibility, we cannot leave that behind aside. And we have a very important part of compromise to the environment. In these movements towards environment, we see electrification. Why is this relevant? Because it will change the habits that consumers have, maybe of how they travel, how they go to service, how they travel, the parts itself, because they require a shared network. And we must be very careful with the autonomous driving to keep in mind connectivity too, and this customer oriented, also the shared mobility. Well, if we share some things in our supply chain, we also see some very interesting trends that the very vehicle can be shared. So this is a trend that we are seeing now and we are getting prepared to get there. Once again, our strategy, the part of freedom of movement in a sustainable manner, in a safe way, it is very important, and we are looking for it in a very premium way, relevant to the Mexican market, and we need to be together with the best providers in order to deliver this strategy. This strategy is focused in creating value in all ways, in growth, sustainability, and in delivering this value to the customer. How are we doing this? With three basic pillars. One is the product. It has design, of course, technology in it, it has mobility, all the creativity involved in this. The other part is manufacturing and is also around sustainability, the logistics, which is what we are talking about today, and the consumer experiences. This experience is information that we can deliver and we can relate directly with our clients that now are expecting to communicate with the brands. Regarding service, in this way of having a more close relation, we are looking to be closer with our clients. Right now we have 19 point of sales and service in Mexico, and there we give the service to our clients, different zones, north, center, and southwest, and southeast. And we are reinforcing the central part of Mexico. In incoming weeks, we will be giving an announcement on this. About this point of sales or interactions with the client, we divide this in two parts. One is Volvo retail experience, or the experience of the sale of a new vehicle, and also the customer service part. Regarding this service part, we call it personal service. We are looking forward to change the paradigm of how we interact with our clients. We are getting closer our technological network to the client. An example of this is that our technicians and service assessors are, one, and they are the ones who have the direct relationship with the client. The client hears from the very first hand what is the diagnosis of the vehicle and vice versa. So it is much more easier, and also it goes to the replacement part issue because it's more agile. And in this business experience that we call the Volvo service, we are going from something that is traditional to a personalized and predictive service where we can plan in a better way what will be the replacement parts of the vehicle, and the next stage will be to go to a total solution, a peace of mind where the client has total freedom. About this freedom, let's talk about logistics. How do we make this value or service into logistics? Let's say that the motive of the design is to have the right product in the right quantity at the right time and the right place, and all this with the right quality and cost. Might sound simple, but it is a motive that we have every day to deliver in our products to the providers network and there to the clients. So getting into detail, maybe what's more important about this slide are two things. One, demand about stock, that it needs to be delivered throughout a logistic chain. And what we talked earlier before, it is a shared network. We need it to be as predictive as possible. And we see this line, which is very direct, and it goes to the consumer. It is not so predictable, but we have technological tools to make models of this. So these two models, in the left side you will see that we're working with the center distribution of all the parts with the experts, DHL in this case, and they are in charge of delivering our products of parts and accessories to the point of sales, and also another strategy which is Volvo Management Inventory. All the systems and all the logistics of, of how we need to optimize the supply chain. Specifically about the supply chain, there's something relevant I would like to say, and maybe in Mexico it's innovative enough, but we are taking control of all the warehouses we have in the nation. Traditionally, they have a replacement part section that it is administered or managed by them. But the new paradigm in Volvo is to take control of all these, let's say, centralized stock in each of every point of sale, and we centralize it so we can optimize the service level. What do we mean? We are taking responsibility of all the purchase orders of the inventories in all the point of sales, and we are taking responsibility of keeping them in a healthy level. We have had some pilots that are very interesting and showing a lot of benefit, and it's a much better handling. We have reduced obsolescence, increasing rentability, etc. About this logistics that we have in the desk, all the concept of this inventory, we need to help add that to the logistics, to what we can touch, the operation, level service, which is good enough. And what are we looking for? To have the best-in-class operators that can deliver our products in the right time frame with the right level of service. And what I said before was electrification. That is something that will be changed in the industry, and many of the components will have to be handled with these cares, like batteries, electric components, etc. So we're looking to have the best logistic way to resolve this service. Specifically with the logistics shared, we have a very day-to-day operation. Here we show just a little calendar of what we're asking, what we're requesting, and what are the benefits you asked to have structured programs. The great benefit is that we can plan, and planning is key in this business. What would I like to say? We have just had some months with this project of shared logistics, but I would like to mention before and after this. For instance, Mexico City, we had cutoff time at 12, but now we have that at 4 p.m. Maybe the delivery was that same afternoon, but it was 3 days a week. Now, what it's interesting is that we do it 6 times a week. So, for planning, it is vital, it is energy. We can give more rotation to our vehicles and satisfaction to our customers. The example of Monterrey, very similar. We had a cutoff at 12, we had three days a week to deliver, and now we are delivering 1 day after that, 6 times a week. And about the southeast, same story in volume and frequency, twice a week came to be 6 times a week. And finally, to put all this in short words, what we have seen in these months. The service index has the fill rate of our inventory has been increasing around 1%, which is a very relevant indicator. And second of all, we have turnover more of the inventories, 10% of it. And also, it is very relevant, this 10%, because we are in this COVID stage that if, even though the economic part has grown low, we have been able to turn more turnover of the inventories more, so that's very good. And of course, there's more stock health. So basically, this is what can I say about having a shared network, very well structured and reliable.
It's very interesting. Thank you for all your comments. The topic you talked about is very important for us. Thanks for all your information. And now, Jose, just to complement that information, can you tell us about the commercial strategies that we have been working with you? Can you tell us something about that?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us, Claudia, Marco. And let me say, it is important for us at Mitsubishi to have key alliances that share objectives and strategies. In that way, this relation with DHL has been very productive. We have said what are the points that we want to attack, what are our strategies to get to the client in a timely manner. And DHL has always been open to offer within their infrastructure those opportunities to achieve this goal. And it is very good to have good communication and to align with your strategy, with your
Okay,
alliance.
so please show us your presentation.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It is an honor to be here in this forum and representing supply chain of Mitsubishi Mexico. My topic is very important, I considered, because it is very relatable to what we're talking here now. It is how allies support our strategies in Mitsubishi. I would like to start with a phrase very convenient of Martin Christopher, which says the real competence is between supply chains, not between companies. And that is very clear to us since we started Mitsubishi. We know that the market offers a lot of options of vehicles, They are all very good quality, and what varies is technology, design, but nowadays the client is very well informed. Before going to the agency, they are checking the product in the internet, in YouTube. They know the characteristics, and we know that from the start, the fundamental part to create something different to the client was to allow him to go to the agency and have all the colors, all the models, and also with the replacement parts and accessories. We always want to have the product close to the client and to be different in that way and provide an excellent service. In that way, I think we do not compete with Volvo. We compete with ourselves to give a quality service. Mitsubishi Motors Mexico started in February 2019. Before this brand was commercialized of other group which had a very good legacy to us, a lot of vehicles going around. They are potential customers, and it also had a legacy that the Mexican consumer knows the brand. Mexico as a country knows the brand, knows the quality, the durability of the products, and that led us to start not from zero, but with the goal that I just talked about. How do we give more value to our final consumer? During Mitsubishi Live, we have launched a new vehicle called Eclipse Cross, another one called it's hybrid, electric, thinking about the future of mobility. I'll show you a video later on. We also made a facelift of the pickup L200, a very appreciated product in Mexico for its quality and durability. And as you can see in the slide, we also had the facelift of Mirage G4. And in here, you see the importance of having excellent allies throughout the supply chain and to offer the customer, in the case of a new product, that that he has already the product there in the agency when we start the marketing and all that. So I think that is different in Mitsubishi than in other brands. Car manufacturing is has challenges, of course, not only in Mexico but worldwide. As an example, this year from January to June, it fell 13%, and as a reflection that we're doing a good things, we grew at 13%, and we also had a 1.3% market share this month. And so it is important to continue with this rhythm where we show the strength of the brand, the product, and the service, that it is backed up by the supply chain and logistics. Regarding after sale and service, we have a good opportunity in the era before ours had a legacy of vehicles in the street. We have already 23,000 vehicles in the country, and of course they are client of ours, plus the clients that keep on buying our cars. In this slide, I will show what are the allies of Mitsubishi. Just to mention some, we have our own financial service, Mitsubishi Motors Financial Services, of course, DHL Supply Chain, with storing and delivering nationwide accessories and parts. Other important players like Glovis, where we're doing vehicle distribution. And going to the strategy part of this, I would like to say our strategy for vehicles, we have changed the model and the logistic pattern that it is backed up in the knowledge of the Mexican market, of course, and backed up with planning with Japan. And locally in Mexico, we are doing a great job. Right now, the cargo ships come, and the 90% minimum, they are already sold to the providers network. So this make a more agile process from where the ships come at the port, the dispatch of the units, and the logistics to make it arrive in the shorter amount of time to the dealer and the final consumer. To install accessories, we're doing that in the port. So when the client asks for a vehicle, he already has them in place, and how that's the way how the dealer will receive it. And we also guarantee quality in handling of the project throughout the supply chain. And as I said, the disponibility of the product, it is for us something very important. Not only that the vehicle is available, but also the replacement parts. And the alliance with Glovis allows us to. It is an example of how we might be competitors as a brand. Glovis does its own vehicles, but we are allies because we share the same vision, and we are committed to make the vehicles getting good quality to everyone. In after sales, we we do care about that everything is available in the original, of course, and a new line off-road that we're going to launch. We're doing some now, but the big part of it comes in a couple of months, so please be aware. And of course, having good allies in supply chain and logistics, it allows us to give low prices, to transfer efficiencies to the final consumer. And regarding the shops, we have appointments throughout your iPad or your phone. So when you take your car to the service, you can have everything ready. And it is important to mention that Mitsubishi mission is to offer an excellent level of service. Of course, the brand it's known by the quality, and it that's why our customers are loyal to us. And why not? Let's keep on enhancing this appreciation that the customers have of us. And we have been in the market for several years. All-terrain or 4x4 vehicles was an innovation of us, and also electric vehicles. We were doing that in the 70s, and we have mentioned that already. Automatic, the future of this, what what the client likes, what the future clients would like. Regarding financing, I mentioned we have a very good ally, our in-house financial service that allow us to offer the very good things to our clients, very good primes, very low cost, credits you can have without having to send in your check stubs. And we have also some things for entrepreneurs and small businesses. The taxi product that it is made for those who every day are working and allowing mobility of people. The vehicle, Mitsubishi vehicles are ones with an excellent performance. And on top of that, if we add a financial product which is very well done and that things to the needs that our customers may have, of course, that helps a lot the people that are in this business. And this financial service also allow us to have a contact center to get in touch with our customers, immediate attention. And in the end, this financial service has a backup as a bigger alliance with Nissan, Renault, and Mitsubishi. With more than 20 years in the market, this financial service allows us to have a very strong arm, and of course will help throughout the credit and to buy another product again in the future. Another important ally is Tokyo Marine, that is the insurance company of our vehicles. And apart from that, I think the added value is that it allows us to evaluate the risks in the supply chain. And of course, we identifying these risks, we can prevent them and also generate plans if anything goes wrong to ensure the quality of the product in all the sites and all the places that are working for us. For instance, the processing parts here in DHL Macrocentro, and in the end, the operation. The operation is in the highest standards of safety and to prevent injuries and risks. Now I would like to share a video about our hybrid vehicle, and then we'll comment on it.
This car must be really addictive. Bro, can you get those ropes out one more time?
I'll see it.
Yeah, man.
Drive your ambition. Mitsubishi Motors.
Well, you saw it. This is a product that Mitsubishi just launched in the beginning of this new era in Mexico, a product that Rodriga has said uses new technologies, and it requires you to have a charger in your house, but we will help you with the installation. You can charge also your vehicle at any point of charge for this kind of plug-in electric vehicles. And in order to handle the replacement parts in the right point, we do that, and the DNA we have of innovation. Very soon, we will have an off-road line of vehicles. They were born with a design that adapts to this way of driving 4x4. And we will push hard on these launching products and accessories off-road. And this is how we commit with you as well, so the products can arrive in a good quality to the point of sale. Here I show the network of point of sales and shops we have in the country. We have 46, and in particular with the alliances that we have with DHL, for instance, having a network that allows us to cover the city, like the capital city, and also a network for the interior of the country that give us flexibility. And after all, it gives us an advantage that we will get to their order, for instance, a collision order where the inventory cannot be in the agency, we react immediately and we deliver that to the logistic of DHL and its distribution. More information about our supply chain. Most of our parts come from Thailand and Japan. Some small percent comes from the United States too. We do it that by ship or by airplane, and we move from the port to our warehouse here in DHL. We do that with another division of DHL, which is Global Forwarding. And once we have the parts and accessories and our point of sales, we ensure quality in handling and packaging, and we go out every day to all the country. Here I share an image of how is our PDC. We are using 6,100 square meters, and a fill rate of 98%, which is an excellent percentage, of course. Just to put an example of the efficiencies that we have and the work we have done, we started with a field rate of 87%, and we have increased that to 98%. So, of course, it is a challenge to keep it that way. But as I said, we aligned all these strategies and objectives. I'm sure we will be able to do it. At an average, we have 3,700 lines received a month and 9,000 shipped. Our cutoff times, it's 12:30 hours to the interior of the country and 16 hours, 4 p.m. to the capital city. More examples of the performance of our logistics. Every month we have an average of 1,000 cubic meters. In claims, they are very low, in 0.01%. This covers damages or missing parts in the network. And also, we have established new techniques to have a very good quality. For instance, we have 0 claims on damage to the windshields, and of course, they are more risk. Performance-wise, we're working with allies like DHL. You can see we're covering with daily shipments in windows from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon. That is important because in an extreme case, if a customer is waiting for some part they can see when it arrives, we have flexibility and very good time of response towards the network. And our times are 92% by now. More logistics, safety of course is very important, so we are working hand by hand with DHL, monitoring our network 24/7. We comply with everything, whether in the warehouse or in the supply chain, and this allows us to prevent risks. If there is any kind of natural disasters, we're monitoring that. And we monitor also safety in highways. Finally, something I think is very important is that we have allies that not only allow us to keep on operations as we have in good levels, in efficiency, but also to work hand by hand to add additional value. More in times like these with the pandemic, I must say that thanks to this alliance with you, our business has been able to keep on working. We haven't stopped, not a single day. The replacement parts, of course, they allow people to continue with their mobility in these times where you must be very careful if you use public transportation. We also deliver sanitizing products, which are in the same line to keep on with the safety and mobility for our clients. And finally, to recognize the great support we have received from DHL and the initiatives like it was the grocery delivery and also cleaning delivery products that we did throughout your logistics network. And we could benefit with this more than 2,000 families. This is a project we'll keep on working during this pandemic because after it, I think, as Rodrigo said, companies are looking for having the social responsibility, not only focusing in the core, which is the sale of vehicles and parts, but also to offer the services of support to the community and society to retribute, of course, to the business they have with us every day. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you both. And what I'm gonna do now is go to the questioning session. Please send all the questions that you have through the chat. And well, in the meantime, I'm gonna ask you some questions. Okay? Rodrigo, I'm gonna start with you. In Volvo cars in Mexico, when they started with a shared network, did you have to break break down the paradigm. Is this correct? Can you give us some comments?
Well, first of all, not necessarily it was a paradigm change because it is a program that not necessarily is unique to Mexico, but we had to adjust some screws inside to plan the way that we will adapt in inventory handling to the point of sale. And I think it has been a very positive change. As I mentioned, we had very good comments from our first clients, which are distributors and also the final consumer. During this pandemic, of course, it was relevant. We haven't stopped operations, but maybe we had a reduced flow in the shops, not the same it was years before. So these stages we have of the shared network has been very beneficial because we have been monitoring very closely the operations, and with this not necessarily we have changed our business idea, but the other way around, our business has adapted, so there was a very good
Thank you very
marriage there.
much, Rodrigo. Jose, your commercial strategy in Mitsubishi Mexico, how is it dealing with the aftermarket chain?
Well, first of all, aftermarket network that DHL has already has the infrastructure to cover the full country as we were expecting. It is also flexible, and this is taken care by 16 distribution centers in the country, and that's how we can control all the points our product goes to, and the know-how, the experience all the team has is something very important. I live it in my day by day, and it's very satisfying to work with the DHL team, and I am representing it now too because every day they are receiving the parts, they are controlling inventory, they are doing shipments and checking on quality and following the systematic part of this, and having this human resource with good training, that is something that DHL gives you, so it hasn't been hard to take advantage of this aftermarket network
Thank you
you have.
very much. Rodrigo, another question, and you said that before in the previous question, but if you could go deeper, which is the perception of the delivery of the service from to your final clients? What have they told you?
We have had like three categories of comments. The first one is the operational part, what you say of having the peace of mind of having the good time frames. Operators are very thankful that they are certain enough that their parts will be coming in the right times. The second category is how are these parts are being received. We cannot say that they come every time with no problem, but with this change it has been very different. We can guarantee that there is no kind of incident on this. And the other part, final customers, they all this machinery goes to them. We all owe ourselves to them, and it is combined to the process of after sale, which is the Volvo Personal Service Program, and we're very close, very close with our clients. And what happens with this proximity we have we know everything if they are thankful or if they are mad. So with these changes we're doing in the supply chain, they are very thankful and they accept our time frames with very easily because they are agile. Despite we have been in this period in which there is some operative restrictions because of the pandemic, but we have reacted very well.
Thank you. Jose, you were talking about strategies and alliances that you've had with different enterprises and through DHL. I have a question. Can you tell us a little bit more about the alliance that you have to move these new cars?
Of course, yes, I'll be glad to. Regarding the delivery of vehicles, we're doing that with Dolby's. That's why I said that it was very ad hoc to today's panel because we might be competent in point of sale, but in logistics, Glovis is Hyundai branch of logistics, but in logistics we share goals. The main goal is to have the vehicle available in the agency in every model, every version, every color, because the client, as I said, it is well informed and they go to the agency when he has in mind what vehicle to buy. So Clovis has this great infrastructure and we benefit from that countrywide with very good quality control throughout the process and monitoring of the logistics of the vehicles. That's very good too. The systems allow us to see every point of it and to ensure quality of the product so there is no kind of failure. So we have been very close to Glovis, and that is an alliance that is very recent, just last month, and it has given us very good results. As I said, vehicles are practically sold when they arrive, and when you sell a vehicle, the dealer is already waiting for it to get to the point of service. And we have done that, dispatching vehicles from the port within 72 hours. We do that with Glovis, and it is an example of the results of
Thank
alliances.
you. And what we've been talking about is all these types of alliances, a client, this client, another client, but we all
Yes.
work together. I think that's all of my questions. Claudia, do you have some more from the audience? Yes, Marco, we have some questions from our audience. Enrique Pineda is asking, how does this impact in the response time in the client's decentralization of the operations? What do you think, Rodrigo?
First of all, to call it centralizing operations, I don't know if that I would call it that, but what we're centralizing is the design of the network of supply in a central way. So, how's that beneficial? I would see that as kind of as an insurance. If an insurance company has a very reduced group of vehicles, it can have a lot of variation, but when this universe of vehicles grows bigger and bigger, any variation within the vehicles will be much less. And having this same idea to the inventories, when we have a very big inventory, a national inventory, the response time can be much better because we move the inventory within the warehouses. So how is that beneficial to customers? They have response times which are more agile.
Thank you, Rodrigo. A second question from Miguel Hernandez. Jose, which is your perspective regarding the phrase the after sales?
Well, let's see. I think that the service that you have after you buy a product is what clients make us to stand with certain brand. If there is any question regarding how it works, the product or an accessory, it is always important to have a good post-sale attention. Customer service on that. So we think a good service for after sales is what makes client loyal to our brand and make them um, very likely to buy the product again. If they are satisfied with the service, with the quality, and also they have a very good attention or with good prices and product and services, it would be a client that will keep on buying and going to the shops of Mitsubishi.
Without any doubt, the sale is totally depending on the service. We have a third question for both of you. That is from Colombia, Bogotá, Colombia. What operations from last mile do you have? 4.4 involving Mitsubishi do you have? Please, Rodrigo, can you go first if you'd like?
Well, operations of last mile operations, we are focused in delivering the products in the right time frames, and I will I will go ahead and answer the question they did prior to this. There is a very interesting number when a client is wanting to buy a new vehicle. Let's say they will invest a couple of hours to have this process done, whether he would like it or etc., going to the point of sale. But in the other hand, when he is a client of the brand and he will invest his time in service, maybe in aesthetics for the vehicle, some service, some guarantee, that time he stays with the brand can be 5, 6 times more. So it is very interesting that all this part of options we have in service that go hand by hand with our offer can be much more robust. I don't know if you would like to say. Yes, I can add that towards the question. This last mile is very important to be connected, have connectivity. When we talked about supply chain 4.0, we are talking about the integration of all the chain with information technologies. What we're evaluating here are technologies that we service our customers with appointments through their cell phone or tablet, and also we ensure that the attention will be provided in the correct times to the clients, and we are evaluating, for instance, the distribution of replacement part and accessories focused in the industry 4.0, having a stability of deliveries in real time from your device. And maybe in car manufacturing that doesn't apply so much because of the model of business. The client goes to an agency and who monitors and shipment might be the dealer. But I think there's always a way to integrate these new technologies to your operation. And if you're not doing it directly with the client, you do it, in this case, with the agency to give that information in real time. That's what we're looking for in the future.
Definitely, and this represents a challenge to give this information in real time. Jose, one of our spectators is asking, if you please tell us some more about this humanitarian collaboration that you made with DHL Supply Chain in helping these people?
Yes, of course. And using the supply chain that we have throughout the country, this initiative that came from Mitsubishi was very well supported by DHL. I think very proactively DHL said, I want to support you in this. And DHL was always looking how to build into this strategy. As we're talking about food, we need to do a coordination process that these packages that are coming from to give the families as a benefit are in a well state. There's no missing parts. There's a very good packaging. And of course, with COVID, we have safety measures in all the handling of the food and a very good coordination that allow us to alert the agency that many times we came to the agency with these food products saying when will they come, and also handling these with some service places that were servicing areas of the main cities where we have a Mitsubishi agency. I think this speaks about the coordination and that It builds with the capacities with DHL, where DHL was always willing to help. And if any problem arose, there always came an idea from DHL to remove this obstacle from the way and get to the objective.
Thank you very much, Jose. That's so interesting. Rodrigo, why does Volvo decide to change this to this shared networking?
First of all, and it is something we start talking about, is it is a big value on this to give mobility to our clients in the sense of adding a specific value in sustainability, also a premium value, and etc. So the most important is to be agile and to deliver the products and services to our clients. Something very relevant is that we have all the robust planning, but we also needed to articulate that in the market. And we found with the DHL a very good collaborator to have this centralized inventory to take it to our products to the point of sale.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. We have a question for both of you. Jose, Rodrigo, do you think of sharing more alliances, like a consolidation in the future?
Yes, of course, we are always willing to do alliances and to share. Of course, when these objectives and ideas align to Mitsubishi strategies, we're always willing to that you mentioned. From my side, I comment that the final consumer, for me, will be the main objective of every strategy. So if there can be clients that can be benefited by sharing strategies, I think we should review to the last detail how we can benefit them. Maybe independently, we cannot articulate so fast, and if we do it together, maybe it could be done. I think it's a good idea. Why not?
Without any doubt. And regarding with this subject, will you have any message for different enterprises from different sectors in order to do these alliances? What can you tell them?
Well, first of all, to evaluate, we need to evaluate our allies in the market that you are competing. First, you need to analyze because you want someone who is strong in certain core of the business. So it is fundamental for every company to identify its core, maybe in manufacturing of some product, maybe in commercializing some product, or providing a service. And once you identify your core, you give it on the expert's hand, like DHL, what their know-how can give to your company. So that is an well-established infrastructure chain that has been proved with an experienced team, and that you don't need to invest resources to train, and no investment in any infrastructure for your operation. So I think it is to invite them to identify their strengths, how they want to be different in the market, and to give it to the hands of the experts some of their value chain, maybe distribution, storing, etc.
Thank you very much. And we continue with more questions from our audience. Something that is relevant during these last months, it's COVID, and the impact that it has had in the automotive industry. How do you estimate the recovery from this industry, and specifically in aftermarket?
Well, Claudia, I consider that COVID has brought several challenges, but also a lot of learning. We would thought that during a pandemic, we are all more cautious to waste our money or buy a car, but we have seen that we have an industry that offers the aftermarket and after sales. So nowadays, people would like to continue with their mobility, being extremely careful. And here we had the service of sanitizing the car, for instance, that give peace of mind to the consumers and to their families. We sell products that allow this sanitization, and that is an opportunity we are somehow taking advantage of with this situation, which of course it's not positive, the COVID-19, but as a society, I think it made us more responsible of the environment, to know that it is important to protect the environment and that nature has the last word with this kind of viruses. We we notice that the human is fragile, and also that the economy can be fragile when we have the social distancing. Of course, there were people that didn't go to the restaurants, to the movies, and the economy slowed down. And the challenge we have is that we are facing an economic crisis around the world, and the companies that will survive will be those that take advantage of the opportunities, not in the sense of generating profit, but to maintain mobility of clients and the mobility of the country, commerce, because this needs to be taking place. We need to give the products because they cover needs of the society. I think it challenges us to be more creative in how we're going to sell in the future vehicles and parts. How are we going to support the dealers to have a tool of some virtual sale tool, and how we'll do the processes and services, of course, adaptable to the situation we're living in, protecting everyone's health. So the pandemic invites us to be creative and to allow the clients to have their mobility. In our case, it accelerated several projects we had about to start. For instance, the digitalization, virtual selling, that was accelerated. Nowadays, we have virtual showrooms where any client who is interested in one of our vehicles with our website, he can chat and do video call with digital tools to see in every detail a vehicle and to see the details of the car, have a financial offer, a transaction, of course, and if it is the case, to have a driving test at home. So we have a very interesting strategy, which is called Volvo Comes to You, and with that, we ensure that every vehicle that comes to Volvo are sanitized 100% with 100% of the standards that could exist, and we are using O3 and the highest products to ensure our clients they are getting the best quality. Volvo Comes to You covers several services. One is the strategy of Volvo Ballet, where the client with an app will be able to ask for an appointment of service. So any person from our center service will go, collect the vehicle, take it to the service, and take it back 100% sanitized and without any kind of problem. Other issue that it is important, it is the e-commerce strategy. I'll talk more about it, yes. Understanding that the client may not necessarily now be would be easy for him to go to the distribution centers, but with this e-commerce, he will be able to get vehicles. Second of all, with parts and service and accessories. And also, an important part is training for our technicians. It is something that we hadn't stopped doing, and we're finding new and interesting ways, virtual strategies to keep updated our distribution network in the very best level and being close to consumers. So the challenges that pandemic brought accelerated the projects that we had in mind that we were about to implement, and now we're living them. So these opportunities, the one who is benefited is the customer.
Definitely. We have to adapt to this new normality and in every sector in all the industries. And linked with this topic, which were the learnings that you had?
Good question. I think they have talked about sanitization, and we can go very deep into it. I think the best part of the learning came from a phrase that says that you never stop learning. You never stop learning from the market because you have challenges every day, and nobody expected a situation like the one we're living. Nobody expected that the economies will practically shut down their operations, whole countries that were impacted in commerce and local economies, also the problem with jobs that were lost for many people. And I think this situation challenged us to learn how to be more creative in the services and the products that we're offering. I think starting today, the young people will start thinking, because of the pandemic, how will they integrate devices, accessories, and aspects of the vehicle that can give not only mobility and what we're seeing in the cars with the interface with your cell phone and these kind of technologies that you have in your car, but also how they can protect you maybe with air filters so that the air that circulates within the vehicle can be sanitized and pure. So I think it is a challenge to everyone. How will we keep on giving the client what they need, and with the pandemic, the security in their health and for their families? What I see it in several ways. One of them, like the closest one, is the family, because the dynamic has changed of practically everybody here. The schools of our children, the dynamic changed, work dynamic changed, our consumer dynamic changed, and companies also changed their ways of working remotely now. So one of the biggest learnings is resilience. The families, Latin American families, and Mexico, where we're at now, they are families that are very resilient. And despite the big challenges we've had, we have been able to somehow overcome this, and something that could have been disastrous could is being handled in companies with schools, with families in a very good way. And regarding the job stations, what I have in mind now, and maybe we will remind this for several years, is that we practically never stopped. Practically no industry stopped down to zero. Of course, affections, there were very severe things, but the private industry in this case wanted to get the countries moving, and we need to recognize that nobody was prepared for this. Nobody in the world was seeing this coming and these consequences, but I think somehow we have overcome these situations and adapt our businesses, our day to day, to keep on serving our customers they deserve.
Claudia, are there any more questions? Yeah, we have so much more questions from Argentina. They are asking us which role do these strategies play, and I think that it is linked with what you were saying before, Rodrigo.
Yes, it is very interesting because these e-commerce plans, maybe before the pandemic, we were seeing growing very interesting in certain industries, but regarding car manufacturing, it is not an industry that actively was working to do e-commerce. But specifically for Volvo, this e-commerce was something that we've been constantly working on and evolving. We are launching products practically every month and looking forward to get the clients close to us. And what e-commerce give is convenience to our customers. And in an epoch like this with confinement, it is something they appreciate. We appreciate e-commerce, so you don't go physically to certain place. It is convenient to compare in the purchase process a client may have generally in any industry, but specifically in car manufacturing process that is very interesting. A client can compare and checking several options, 4, 5 brands at the same time, and with e-commerce and the digital part of it, this goes very wide, so the customer has the benefit of having all this offered of e-commerce. E-commerce would be an essential part of a great umbrella, and this umbrella, it is connectivity, that our roads are connected somehow with products and services, specifically in the vehicle world and connected services. The vehicle and all kind of information travels to central host, and this information helps the client to take several decisions. As a consumer, you thinking about connectivity, you when you have an accident, we hope very minor accident, in the OBD, in the computer of the vehicle, will be registered how severe the accident was. So the data will travel to this connected service, and the information can go to assistance centers and all more to assist people. And this detonates very interesting situations because depending on how severe an accident was, you can prevent or you can infer what would be the components to be changed. So maybe e-commerce, it is a solution to interact with the customers, but also the connected service is the great umbrella that we will be covering during the next years.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. I don't know, what do you think about this topic that you'd like to share with us?
Well, basically, to this question, having a distribution center of replacement parts and accessories that is centralized, as we do have now, is beneficial to implement e-commerce. As Rodrigo said, it is a project that some companies had in the medium or long range, but now it is an advantage. In the US, Mitsubishi has 3 distribution centers, and the parts that are not available in a distribution center may be available in some other, so that has several conditions like how can we get these parts to the client. In Mexico, we centralize everything in DHL, and that would allow us to have agile response times and also to have a load of knowledge when we do some e-commerce technology, maybe to manage orders and inventory. So I think this centralized consulate center helps a lot.
And I think that having these two brands in DHL, as you said, will help us a lot to bring e-commerce to the next level, which is a very easy way
And
out.
in the end, our volume goes hand by hand with other brands, and that allows us to implement e-commerce at a lower cost.
Sure, and the new generations to come, they are more involved in e-commerce like than we are. Thank you very much, Jose and Rodrigo, for sharing this e-commerce topic with us. In Colombia and in Mexico are asking us which is the major advantage that Volvo and Mitsubishi have in DHL as an alliance market friend. And what was the beginning of it?
Well, I'll start. How has the experience been? From the start, has been a very satisfying experience. I've said it before. I think the first thing that you align are your strategies and objectives, and in that way, the DHL for the years, it has been in service. The infrastructure it has applied in the country, and the distribution center, the cross dock, the network. It allows us to be safe that we are in good hands, like who is handling the logistics of our parts. And for instance, the Mitsubishi DHL model also uses the system to process the orders. And of course, we're very well connected. We have platforms with Mitsubishi and DHL, so we are able to comply with the orders in the shortest time, and also to do the invoice and all the billing on this in very short times. So from the beginning, there was a very good understanding from DHL of the requirements, the operation, and in that way, it wasn't hard to start. Of course, there's a challenge in everything. The first one was the times we had to run the Mitsubishi operations. They were short, and it is advantage to have the alliance because you have a team with experience and they help you so these time frames can be obtained. So you always have to see your business partners who are strong so they can give you that peace of mind in the administration of operations. From my side, DHL is a global partner of Volvo. We are allies in many markets, so that helps a lot. The understanding we have is mutual, so it can come together very well. Something that Jose mentioned was integration of car manufacturers. For instance, several years ago, it was a vertical integration where tires to the engine were made in the same productive structure. And little by little, that has changed. But now, car manufacturing is very horizontal. And maybe since the 70s or 80s, it has been evolving to integrate with services. Services started in a very vertical way. Specifically, every manufacturer had their own services, and that's how they operated them. But time has taught us some things about efficiency and enhancements that all manufacturers and all clients can take benefit from. Now services must be integrated horizontally, sharing around the supply chain. And we have seen several years ago with the supply chain, and now we're seeing that on the value chain, the logistic chain. It is something that is happening, and I think in the near future we will see it in several markets more.
And to complement this, the beginning that we had with you, I remember that something that you really cared about was that the changes were fast. in order not to stop the service when delivering the product. And I remember that you told us that you wanted this to happen in a weekend. These changes between systems and storage. And I think that's something that I learned a lot is the integration of the work teamwork. Okay, like you said, Rodrigo, a lot of teamwork. And for me, this success is how you work and how you work as an ally.
Yes.
Definitely, it's very important to have allies, to have partners that allow us to explore these competences and these abilities. We have some more questions. I think we have some more time. What do you think is the challenge in regarding with this alliance and chain supply? Rodrigo?
I can speak for Mexico, and I see many more opening to situations or opportunities to be better in this kind of alliances. I think what we need to see is that we're global companies, and as global companies, we have been in several years in service throughout the world, and that has built very good manufacturing practices with manufacturing in Asia, in Europe, and America. So all these good practices have been flowing very good, very easily to Mexico. And many times to implement a plant, as Marco said in the beginning, there's expectation as clients to have an immediate change. We want to be tomorrow with all the enhancements on hand. So I think that us as clients must understand these are processes that that aim to be better, but we need to be exigent because there is a client behind all this enhancement, but also to have a good judgment that the process takes time. But saying this, I see several opportunities which are very positive for global practices in many markets, very interesting, and I think we can adapt that to Mexico. Well, I agree with Rodrigo. I see it more than challenges, opportunities. Mexico and Latin America, I believe, has an excellent infrastructure regarding supply chain, and we have an excellent human resource. In other experience here, I have seen how the ideas that generate in Mexico are exported to other countries, and that speaks of that in Mexico we have conditions because of the challenges to get to your client in time and good quality, and to have everybody in the supply chain committed to this towards the company. That is very good, and we need to keep on supporting that to have an edge on other markets, and especially with CEMEC, I think that gives a good position to Mexico to bring more jobs and industry.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo, Jose, for your interventions. And thank you very much for answering these questions. The reality is that we had a very interactive panel, and we thank you for that. Thank you also, Marco, for helping us during this panel. And without any doubt, there are a lot of challenges and opportunities that aftermarket is facing, and let's keep that in mind. And finally, with this panel, we finish the first day of the Transportation Forum 2020. We thank you very much, everybody, for assisting, everybody who saw these panels. We invite you to share your experiences with the hashtag DHL TF 2020. And we'll see you tomorrow to continue with these sessions that we have prepared for you. We will be discussing security subjects and the different challenges that the enterprises are facing during this epidemic. Please just to register yourselves. See you tomorrow.